in my opinion. There's so many parallels with what is written in this document and what is happening currently here. And these are things that, it's been on a rotation. We've talked about this, me and Jared, about these reports and these commissions and these inquiries and all these, everything that comes out to levy charges against the imperial, against the empire, against the US. But in reading this, some of the things that really stood out to me is how easily applicable the statements were. You could just replace the word Palestine with Africans in the US. And it would literally be the same exact information. Like, you wouldn't need to change anything but who you were talking about and the location of those people that you were discussing in that moment. And for me, and this happens to me a lot, Daruba, I don't know how much you watch us on Saturdays, but all the time, like, I'll read something or I'll watch something and I'll be like, this is exactly what Daruba's talking about, with bringing things to the forefront via some kind of legal process, right? You put it before the court, you put it out there with all your evidence, and you just let people absolutely watch and see what is happening. And it becomes really hard to deny the realities when it's all in front of you, listed in black and white. I have arguments consistently with people about Israel because, well, what are the Jewish people supposed to do? And, well, are you denying that they should have their, yeah, I'm denying it, because anything that requires that you kill off an entire population of people and steal all of their land shouldn't happen. If that's the requirement, if the requirement is that everybody who's already in this space has to die or move, then we shouldn't be doing it. And you shouldn't be supporting anybody who wants to do that, period. And it's already happened here, right? Like, that's how we all ended up here, is exactly that process of removing and killing off the people who were already in this land. So I, as a person with the firm belief that everybody's humanity is important, I'm not going to stand back and pretend like I don't know that's the reality of the situation. I'm glad you went to this piece, Jared, because these pages where they lay out all the statements that have been said between the Israeli government, the speeches, I mean, all of these things that anybody could read, anything that these ghouls have said, and actually in their mind be like, oh, no, they're not trying to kill off all the Palestinians. Like, you're just not paying attention, right? Like, you can't read this stuff and think that this is not problematic. So I don't know, Jared, do you want to jump in and...
Well, just to echo what you're saying, first of all, what I noticed I made it about halfway through the document and I was like, man, I'm not going to make it before, because I had started the other day and honestly, I didn't realize how long it was. And then when I was getting back into it early this morning, I was like, man, I'm not going to get to the end. But what you realize is that the reason it's 80 pages is that it's almost, I want to say at least a third of the end is dedicated to these kinds of statements. It's just the compilation of the evidence to support why South Africa is saying this is genocide and the International Criminal Court needs to intervene to the extent that's a viable option, because. And so it's just stuff like this. I mean, they're after detailing, and this is page 65 of an 84-page document. So the document has already gone through the legal explanation for why the court has jurisdiction, that these are all signatories both to the UN Convention on Genocide. They're signatories to the UN itself. They have broken all of the, I mean, they've, and then after going through the legal argument of why the court should be involved, they come to, well, why are we saying this is genocide? So they explain some of that. And then to back that up, they just go into what is Israel itself saying? Mm-hmm. What are the Israelis openly admitting to doing? And it is, again, I think we've been, exposed to a little bit of this over the last few months, all of us, and some more than others. But in reading this today, and all of it laid out, it was brutal. Obviously, not nearly what is being experienced in real time, but this is what they're saying. They have no future. If they think they're going to come back home, there will be scorched earth. Gaza may Gaza be erased. May their village burn.
So can you scroll up for me, Jared? Scroll up to
Sure.
page 64. There's the Israeli army reservists.
Destroy everything.
The motivational speech. That part right there. Wait, right in the, go down a little bit. The motivational speech. You see that? In the middle? Yeah. Be triumphant and finish them off, and don't leave anyone behind. Erase the memory of them. Erase them, their families, mothers, and children. These animals can no longer live. This was a speech.
Yeah. Let me say something here. One of the most difficult features of the genocidal anti-genocidal law in the United Nations is intent, to prove intent.
That's what they're talking about here. And that's why, if I could just cut you off, just to add this one more line from what Renee was reading. The statement continues: every Jew with a weapon should go out and kill them. If you have an Arab neighbor, don't wait, go to his home and shoot him. We want to invade, not like before. We want to enter and destroy what's in front of us, destroy houses, then destroy the one after it. As they said in the next line here, destroy everything. So I just wanted to finish that. Please go ahead.
It's intent. And where has this anti-genocidal international agreement and the ICC charter come from? It comes from the Nuremberg trials. It comes from the trials against Nazis and their acolytes, and so intent has always been difficult to prove, because very few genocidal powers, you understand, come out and say, let's kill them all, and wipe them out and take their land and everything. It's always couched in some type of jingoistic terminology, civilizing the savages and, removing us from threats from barbarians and all of this stuff. This is how it's usually couched, which brings me to us. And how many times have we gone into holding sort of informal tribunals declaring that the United States evinces the design of genocide against African people in the United States? And how many times we've submitted it to the same international bodies, and we haven't heard a peep out of them. No results. And even up until recently, we still persisted in this idea and this notion that it was possible to get the world to condemn the United States' treatment of Black people in the United States, when the United States posits itself as that democratic beacon on the hill, and that it's an imperfect democracy. We're still working on it. It's still a work in, you got niggas that come out and say it's still a work in progress, that we're not perfect. Yes, not a perfect union. Well, white supremacy was never a perfect union. It was not about union. It was not about recognizing the humanity of the native people, the people that they conquered, or the people that they enslaved. And so when we segue to that, we understand that was an exercise in futility. Why would we do this again? Why would we waste all of these resources again to know that there's not one nation in this world that was going to come out like South Africa has done with the Palestinian struggle and say, yes, America has been perpetuating a protracted genocide of African people in the United States? Instead, we get African nations now to get on the bandwagons about reparations because they figure they can get some money for their elites and their families. You understand? They sold us into slavery. And so we have like Mr. Potato Head here in Ghana, the president, you understand, talking about, that the U.S. owes reparations, that the West owes Africa reparations. You see, the reparations have never been exacted from anybody except at the barrel of a gun.